Today, we explore Christianity's profound moral legacy and its enduring influence on our secular world. These insights reveal how Christianity's ethical framework, rooted in transcendent purpose, human dignity, and communal sacrifice, has quietly shaped even atheist moral intuitions.
Atheists often arrive at common sense ethics not through isolated reason, but via cultural osmosis from Christian societies.
However, this borrowed morality isn't universal or timeless. It's geographically and historically contingent, fading without its roots. This leads to the cut flowers dilemma: severed from faith, virtues wither, yielding nihilism and hedonism that erode family and society. The phrase, "you and I agree on morality about 87%, you can think you hit that triple and formed your own morality, and you were born morally. But the reality is you were born morally on third base," highlights a near consensus on basics like anti-murder or charity.
The baseball analogy perfectly captures the illusion of self-creation, as atheists in the West inherit these values from Christianity's imprint, like human equality from Imago Dei.
Born into Christendom's residue, they score easily, mistaking cultural default for personal genius, often ignoring how pre-Christian worlds normalized infanticide or slavery. Next, you can't get from atheism to reductive morality just by pure reason. Atheism's rationalism hits a wall.
Reason describes is but can't dictate aught without axioms. Reductive ethics, like utilitarianism, crumbles under scrutiny, potentially justifying atrocities if deemed efficient.
Christianity supplies the leap, a moral law from a loving God. Atheists borrow this for reductive wins like rights advocacy, but pure reason alone veers toward relativism. The quote, "The values you believe are not just things that can just be reasoned to because they assume things that are not in evidence, like the inherent value of humanity," is spot on. Secular values like universal dignity aren't empirically verifiable, they're metaphysical bets. Reason observes humans as evolved apes, but declaring inherent values smuggles Christian premises. Atheists lean on this for ethics, yet without evidence, it falters. Christianity grounds it theistically, helping atheists sustain humanism amid doubt. Consider, if the reasonable morality you believe in is universal, then why is it not even remotely universal on planet Earth? It is only found in Christian-based societies. This exposes the geographic bubble. Western morals, like individual rights, thrive in Christendom's wake but vanish elsewhere, such as honor killings in non-Christian cultures or caste in Hindu societies. If truly rational, why not global? It's Christian export, not reason's triumph. Atheists in the secular West enjoy this universal mirage, but it's a Christian artifact. Furthermore, what we consider common sense good moral behavior was not commonplace or mainstream a few centuries ago. Indeed, pre-Christian Europe tolerated gladiatorial slaughter or witch burnings as common sense. Abolition and women's rights are Christian innovations. What feels innate now is recent, forged by gospel ethics. Atheists claim this progress as reason's fruit, but it's Christianity's slow leaven, bending the moral arc toward justice. Finally, why do we still continue the tradition of these religions and admire it if we got the morality from them and don't need it anymore? Because cut flowers die, the flower is the result of the root. The flower will be good for a while, but it won't systemically maintain. The cut flowers metaphor is poignant. Admire cathedrals or charity as cultural heritage, but without roots, they rot.
Secular admiration of Christian ethics persists from habit, but uprooted, it can't regenerate. Atheists sustain it temporarily via inertia, but systemic decay looms.
Nihilism creeps in, questioning why bother without a divine why. In essence, these quotes reveal Christianity as atheism's silent benefactor, a moral operating system atheists run on, unaware of the power source. Yet, as vapors thin, the system's crashes, demographic, existential, become evident. A new quote states, "Western secular enclaves, sated on Christianity's borrowed breath, now exhale the stale mists of their sacred yesteryears. Where once eternal roots bore fruits of family and fortitude, now nihilism's void and hedonism's haze choke the cradle, leaving lineages languishing in lonely twilight. This portrays secularism as a post-Christian hangover, intoxicating at first, but ultimately toxic, stifling renewal. Data confirms the cut flowers wilt. The secular West faces fertility craters, with the US projecting 1.6 births per woman by 2055. Non-religious individuals are at 1.8 births versus Christians at 2.2. Europe averages 1.5, with Italy at 1.2 and Germany at 1.4. The EU population is projected to shrink 6% to 419 million by 2100 without migration. Secularism correlates negatively with stagnation, with an R-squared value of 0.66. In contrast, religious nations like Sub-Saharan Africa have 4 to 7 births, Muslims globally average 2.9, and devout US subgroups match high-fertility Iran at 2.5. Religiosity boosts fertility, also with an R-squared value of 0.66 positive. Implications are clear. Collapse looms. Europe faces a 5 to 10% shrink by 2050, and the US working age ratio falls from 2.8 to 1 to 2.2 to 1 by 2055. Secular youth often cite no purpose for delaying or avoiding children. In secular countries, 60% of US cohabit without marriage, and Europe's marriage rates have halved since the 1970s. 51% of Scots with no religion ties correlate to a 1.3 fertility rate. Secularism lowers even religious fertility via societal norms. In contrast, devout US women intend 2.4 or more kids, as faith builds quasi-kin bonds for procreation. Autonomy now trumps legacy. Over 30% of secular Americans are childless by 40, leading to a demographic winter that strains welfare systems. Nihilism breeds indifference, where life feels pointless, while hedonism fuels narcissism, prioritizing endless highs over sacrifice. The secular West's eat, drink, tomorrow we die ethos delays commitments. Faith, however, counters with purpose, like procreation as a mandate and communal ties. These false idols kill families. Hedonism prioritizes apps and dating over parenting, and nihilism whispers, why legacy? This yields a 26% fertility drop among the non-religious since 2005. Societies face anomie and existential crises. This tableau warns, without Christian roots renewal, these vapors dissipate, leaving hollow shells. Re-engagement might stem the tide. What's your take on Christianity's moral legacy in our secular world?